Do you find yourself getting easily angered? Do the current circumstances of your life cause you to burst out with rage? What would your family and friends that know you really well, what would they say about you? Are you a patient person or are you quick to anger? Hey y'all, welcome back to our YouTube channel where we're doing these weekly videos called Words for the Week, where we're trying to help people follow God in a Christ-like way in areas of weakness. And we've been looking at love every week because God is love. It's the defining characteristic of our God. There's others as well, but we're focusing, at least in this season, on love. And so today we're trying to help the weak with those of us who are prone to being quick to getting angry. Okay, two things I want to say about the topic though. One is I've had a long history with anger, about 20-something years now of being more aware of getting angry and more specifically quickly angry. And so I want to share a little bit about that journey with you. And then also, I just want to make the obvious statement that there are many reasons in the world to be angry, right? It's a normal emotion for all of us, but what do we do with it? How do we do it? Can we be more like God? How do we be more like God? Are kind of the focus of the top of the video today. So a quick history lesson for me. About 20 years ago, I was usually quick to anger. I'm not as much anymore, but it's been a long journey. And it started with a time that I was reading my Bible, spending time with God, and I felt like God out of the blue said, "Why are you lying to your wife?" And I was like, "What do you mean?" And I felt like he asked me again, "Why are you lying to your wife?" And I said, "What do you mean?" And it hit me. I was lying to my wife every time she asked me the question, "Are you angry?" So something would come up in our marriage or life or circumstances around me, and she would notice, make an observation that I seemed angry. And so she would ask me, "Are you angry?" And I would immediately, without hesitation or any kind of thought, I would say no, because I didn't want to be an angry person. I didn't know how to feel anger. I knew I was angry, but I wouldn't ever admit it. I immediately would say no. And God called me out on that one day and said, "You are lying." And I said, what do I do? I was weak. I needed help. And so I asked my wife for help. And I said, "Hey, when you think I'm angry, I want to just ask you to change your question. Would you do that for me?" Here's the question you could change it to. You could say something like, "Hon, it seems like you are angry. What are you angry about?" Or, "Why are you angry?" Or, "It seems like you're angry. Are you?" And that extra question in there, or that extra observation, would allow me to get out of my normal habit and instead flip the script and kind of go, "Hold on a second, am I angry or am I not?" And I could then process a bit and say, "Yes, I am angry, and here's why." Or, it's not really anger. I'm afraid, or I'm amped up, or whatever it may be, And so that difference started me on the journey of recovery towards understanding how to be angry. Because I noticed at this point in my life, I noticed that if I'm easily angered, if things just really quickly bother me, I'm usually not very emotionally healthy. There's something happening in my life where I'm running on fumes, or there's something happening where I'm not able to just be more slow towards any emotion, but especially anger. So that's been my quick journey with anger over the past 20 years. But to be angry is human, right? I mean, it's normal to be angry. There's lots of things in the world happening right now to be angry about. For me, the war in Ukraine, what's happening in Ukraine is just infuriating and sad and challenging to me. The division in our families, in our churches, in our communities, in our country, these things bother me. And at times I can get really angry at both sides of this, if there are two sides, I guess, of people groups, like, "Oh yeah, you're over here and you're over here and you're just fighting. Everybody's fighting." That can get me angry. Things that happened with my car recently where I needed to spend some extra money, and I was like, no, I'm just frustrated with that. I'm angry at that. How quickly I can go to anger can shock me at times. I can be really quick to anger, at times. And yet, 1 Corinthians 13 tells us again, love is not easily angered. So, what's going on there? What's happening? What's going on between love and anger? Well, it's helpful to look at God and his traits. Who is he? What is his character like? How does he describe himself? What does the Bible say about God? And we see this really famous passage in Exodus 34, where God, when he describes himself, says, the Lord, a God merciful and gracious, slow to anger, and abounding in steadfast love and faithfulness. And I think that one verse there describing God being slow to anger and abounding in love and faithfulness, if we could be more like that, we most likely would have a radical shift in our lives, in the way people interact with us, and the way we live our lives in our world. So here's an exercise I came up with. Hopefully it helps. Take a piece of paper or your phone or something and write down 3 to 10 circumstances, people, or topics that are happening in your world right now that are, just make you angry. To some degree, angry. Anger is the emotion that comes when you think of those topics or those circumstances or even those people. Okay. Then take that list to a trusted friend or family member and ask them to be honest and say, tell me about me. Tell them about you. Ask them to say, hey, do you think that I'm slow to anger in these areas and I'm quick to love? Or am I quick to anger and slow to love? And ask them to be honest. Am I lavishly overflowing with love and kindness related to these topics, these people, or these circumstances? Or would you say, in your honest opinion and observation of my life, you would say, I am quick to anger? Their answers, I think, could be really helpful to you, to all of us, if we ask those honest questions. We want to be more like God. We want to be more like Jesus. If we're Christians, we want to be formed in the image of Christ, and he will do that in our lives. And as it relates to anger and love, this is what he's wanting to do. He's wanting to slow down our anger and increase our love. That's the work he wants to do in us, because that's who he is, and he wants us to be like him. So God is not easily angered, neither is love. And I want us to walk in the way of love. I want that for my life, for my family, for my church, for anyone in my life, that more of us would walk in the way of love and less in the way of speeding towards anger. Comment below if you have other ideas you think could help us in this area of weakness. And until the next video, I hope that you guys are able to follow God and trust him with your lives. All right, love you guys. Bye.